if ignorance can be banished from this world, if people can communicate with each other fully, frankly, and in depth, then all wars will cease, because the cause of war is fear and hatred. And hatred is the ugly little daughter of the evil witch of ignorance. Africa has been called a savage land, an untamed land. It has even been called the dark continent. But Africa has neither been savage nor dark. In fact, I will go so far as to tell you that Africa is the sacred hook that joins all the cultures, all the languages, and all the religions of the world together. Africa is the true missing link in man's past.
the spirit of the land, the spirit of the forests, the spirits that live in the water. ask them to come here to be in this space with us. We ask that they be the ones who ordain over each and every single thing that will manifest within this space and within this time that we have been given. Tama. Earlier, I saw Claire as I was coming into this space, and somehow I was in a space where I was trying to rethink who and what it is that I am, beyond what I think I am, beyond what the world says I am. We've been meditating a lot on what we call the body, on what we call umzimba, umunzi, or vanegemba, an enclosed vessel, a house, a home that carries something. Over the past few years, I've been seeking deep within my own self for what that something might be. What form does it take? In this search, I find that there's only more to search. And sometimes, when this vehicle has blockages, it isn't able to access some of the information that it needs to access. So that information can also assist you in your own ascension. Most of the times we feel as though we are trapped, or as though we are sinking in a deep abyss or place of uncertainty. Or sometimes it's as if our stations are not broadcasting properly. It's like the frequency is slowly out of tune. We feel that some of the messages that we'd like to share with you are waves or vibrations that can assist in aligning that particular frequency. We feel that each and every single person who has come to this space knows this deep within themselves. Each of us, in our own ways, in our own senses, we have begun the journey towards learning who we are. Or maybe already we know, just that we are uncertain or we're scared, because we're in spaces that sometimes do not allow us to be as expansive as we are, or as we wish we could be, or as we already see that we are. We are hoping that this space will allow you to get to that space within your own self and recognize the unity that exists in the both of us. For a very long time, all we could do is shrink ourselves, make ourselves smaller, compartmentalize, break ourselves down. This is the time for us to rebuild. This is the time for our own rebirth. This season we're in now reminds us of the importance of death. What it means for us in the physical sense and all the other senses that we cannot see with our physical eyes. Death, first and foremost, is a teacher, like each and every experience that you go through. It is a form of showing how consciousness is able to live outside of the body. The images that you see, or the images that you do not see have also been communications that have been sent to us to be messages to assist within this transition that humanity is in. Sukoyika was a way for us to overcome the fear that we had, that we can't be all of these things that we see, that we cannot be all of these things that we've already seen have manifested. It was a way for us to break the threshold that exists between this dimension and all the ones that we cannot see. If we leave ourselves to be consumed by fear, then it only holds us down within this plane, the five sense reality. But if we allow ourselves to use the fear, to use the pain, to use all the things that still within us, within our own cells, within our own DNA, that have not been resolved, if we allow ourselves to get to a space of healing those things, they become the codes that we need. They become the messages that we all need to allow for the younger generation, to allow for us who are here now, who are about to become the older generation, because the elders are also leaving this particular dimension, to allow for new spirits to incarnate within this plane. There's a lot of work that we are yet to do, and there's a lot of work that we have to do within our own selves before we can do it anywhere else. We hope that whatever impulse, whatever thought or feeling that brought you here, may it be amplified. May all the doubt and hesitation that you still have, may it dissolve. When I felt myself dissolving, it was like I could see this door, like sunlight opening a portal into another plane of existence. And these images from isiXhosa became that physical manifestation, or way to try to take the information that existed in a highly energetic space, not tangible. For some other people it doesn't make sense, it's a crazy idea. But then, with a lot of guidance, we were led into that kind of manifestation. It was as though unknowing had visited, and she was saying that our understanding of time is skewed. Our understanding of historical time is also skewed. Our understanding of metaphysical time is also skewed. Because some of the great calamities that have happened in the world, some of the things that have shifted the level of consciousness of the entire planet, have been the ones that are taken from us, the ones that we are not allowed to see, the ones that are not broadcasted anyway. Sometimes the things that we feel inside of ourselves are actually things that are calling to us from other dimensions, from other times, from other memories that we may have experienced ourselves in this physical lifetime, or someone else. We hope that each and every single desire that you have, we hope that each and every single thing that you feel is important to you and is important to the world, may it manifest. I'm from a small place in the Eastern Cape called Tata. It used to be a farm where I grew up. It's called New Pain Location. So there was a family of Pain brothers who owned all the other patch of land, like from the N2 road. And then the older brother owned the other side of the land. So the other side was called Old Pain because of the older brother. And then the other side was called New Pain because of the younger brother. So I grew up there. I come from a family about Tembu. And my father passed away in 2004. I was telling a friend earlier that actually 2 days ago, like I was thinking about him and his own passing, and how finding a way to accept his own passing was a way that also assisted me within my own ascension, at least getting to a point where all of the things that you feel are holding you down can actually be the things that will teach you how to rise and become not so much better but more advanced, because you understand the nuances of existence. So like, it's as though being here now, I can feel his presence again. I can feel some of the things maybe he liked or maybe was interested in, even though like when I was growing up, like that was not a relationship that existed. Growing in a polygamous family, being in a third house and hardly ever seeing him, or if I'm seeing him, we're going to church, you know, and it's only those few hours in church. So it's like all of that built into like a kind of resentment that I carried with me that made me question a lot of what I think I am, maybe as a boy then now transitioning into manhood. What does that actually mean? And somehow spending a lot of time like trying to resolve those particular things, I was able then to get into other planes of understanding. And it's as though that's exactly where I met him, beyond just him having been my father in this world. It's like that was a springboard, or a different kind of relationship with him started opening up. Udada was a preacher, or umfundisi, but also later he realized that kufuneka yotwasa. I'm also now walking that particular journey. And a lot of those things also didn't make sense, you know, like where does the church come in and where does it stop? You know, what does this thing mean, you know, and how can the two worlds come together as one? And somehow I feel like he's teaching me all of those things now. Having walked the path as well, maybe got into certain understandings. It's also kind of reorientated me, trying to think about some of the things that we're also like dealing with within our own communities, you know. Whether we want to call it religion, or we want to call it spirituality, or we want to call it a way of being in the world, you know, and being conscious of your own existence, you know. Whatever term we can give it, you know, or what this is, I found that there's so many parallels between these worlds, you know. It's not as though maybe like it's a coincidence that things are happening in the way that they're happening. I've also been reflecting on time, on what time is, particularly if we're thinking about Tunongqawuse, whom we still feel like is someone whose presence in the world was, I won't say short-lived, because a prophecy she had made is actually one of the things that catapult what modernity is, on how this particular time we're in is actually unfolding. So over 200 years or so, a young Xhosa woman from close to Butterworth in the Eastern Cape had a vision, or wafike mazizinyanya, and the message was that the community should take all of their cattle and all of their food, livestock and everything, and go sacrifice it to the sea, because if they do that, they will be able to avert the danger that is coming for them, a danger that will wipe them out from the face of the earth. So everyone did this thing because this person is a seer, you know. Everyone understands that they see things in ways that other people probably can't see. Then once that was done, the colonial forces started like getting into the Eastern Cape, and then here we are now. We're living in these kinds of hybridized spaces that are called cities that have specific kinds of neuroses, psychosis. They don't allow us to get to certain spaces within our own selves. It's like a programmed kind of reality that we have to constantly undergo. So Nongawo says premonition, or her prophecy. A lot of people said that she was mistaken because at that particular time, that's when the colonial forces were able to get everyone to work, or the concept of work was more practical within our own South African positionality, because now people had to go to the mines, I think it's also very fitting that we're also in Kimberley. It's just another thing that's just been buzzing in my mind, so everyone thought that she was mistaken, and for having done that, everyone then got into this new paradigm, which is a Eurocentric paradigm that tells us this is what the world is and this is how the world ought to operate. So thinking that whether she was right or wrong, but this is where we are now, beyond the rightness of the statement, but thinking that this is where we are now. This particular series, it's like she was saying that we expected time to move like maybe when I sit here and I throw something, it would just move like that, but there's so many other things that need to happen in between for something to be truly realized. We've been fortunate to be guided and walking and meeting people who are also trying to think around what this particular time is and what might really mean for us, and perhaps even rethinking what that prophecy meant. There's a community in the Eastern Cape of women that make work and centralize the symbol of the cow, and this is why the cow is so prominent in that series. They say that actually Nongawo was not mistaken. Our understanding of how time flows was just not really as advanced as she was. They say that the transition from 1994 marked the first stage where when she said, Nongawo said that the ancestors will come back from the sea. That was the time when people were moving from Robben Island, and then this dispensation was something that we are currently living under. Again, whether that is true or not, but thinking about some of the things that are happening, thinking about some of the sensitivities that are like awakening in people's senses, I think, again, it's very timeless that even sessions like these are things that are happening, that boldly we can say, okay, this is awakening social sessions, because there's so many things that people could be doing, but then how are we thinking about our own positionality within the world right now? What does it mean for us to be born into the world? What is it that we come carrying into the world? So now it's as though all of those voices that never really had a moment to express all of the things that they wanted to express at the time that they were here in their own physical manifestation are also coming back. These are coming back as dreams. These are coming back as songs. These are coming back as illustrations. These are coming back as multiple senses that people are feeling. Even if you go to social media, you can kind of see the kind of aesthetic that is flowing. You can see the energies that are moving. It's like something that is not really fixed in this particular time, but it's like an old time. But also it's a time that hasn't quite yet happened. So I suppose the key interest is for us to really think about what this particular moment holds for us. Individually, as a collective, and the importance then of that kind of collective consciousness in knowing that each of the things that we're feeling, we're not feeling alone. And how can we try to find avenues then to facilitate spaces where we're not only told that we are not alone, but we can entirely feel it within our own selves, that we are guided and we are carried and we are loved. All right, I think we'll just share those words and then we'll slowly transition into the other side.
Honestly, I came on a mission, to be quite honest. I came on a mission to find out and to kind of go into a more in-depth experience, because in one stagnant form, because but there's more to this, there's more to life, there's a huge spiritual connection. And if you do not cultivate that, and do not embrace it, and you do not practice it, if you do not personify it, it becomes something that is no longer existing. And I like the fact that you guys do it through music, you guys do it through art, you guys do it through everything that is tangible to myself. I could honestly say from the bottom of my heart, it's exactly what I needed, and exactly at the same time that I really needed it. So come on, guys.
Of course. Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, is there someone else? Okay.
Thank you. I'm not very good with names today. I forgot your name.
It's okay.
We had a discussion earlier on with Sadie and Kanyisa. About how this is such a beautiful thing to experience and to be expressed by youth and to be hungered by the youth as we are gathered here today. I spoke to him about the truth in what everyone is saying, himself saying that there is an awakening in African youth to get to understand themselves better as African children, as sons and daughters of the soil. But platforms like this are not available to us because with our parents, you don't ask questions, you do what you're told. But we hunger for information like this. And thank you very much to Tepo for organizing something like this, which is very relevant. I shared with Kanyisa that I am have a background of charismatic, born-again Christian, which is a religion I adopted because I couldn't find any answers from my culture. And in Christianity, you ask questions, you receive answers, and you are given a book to read that clarifies everything. And you are taught how to connect with the Spirit of God and Jesus. And you have a deeper understanding of belief and faith in this beautiful spirituality. I shared with him that it is God that asked me, but who are you without your identity as an African child? And I'm like, you know me, I don't talk about that. We don't do those things that you do at home. We just modern at home. But all of a sudden I have so much interest in my culture and all cultures. And God is showing me that we are all one, nothing separates us. As Xhosa, as Zulu, as Sotho, as colored, as white, we are all one. And I was chatting with him and I realized indeed we are all one. How about we have another session like this in September, Heritage Month, and the youth comes together and we talk, have conversations, discuss what is this kamaku that everyone keeps saying. You know, what does it mean? Let us talk more about Lobola. Where does it come from? What does it mean? What is its purpose? All the other very sensitive issues that our elders speak about that we ignore because it just don't make sense to us. But when it's done by our peers in such a relevant manner through music and visuals and moving pictures, it's so sweet, it's so beautiful, it's so spiritual, it's so African, it's so us. For the first time you feel, wow, I'm an African child and I want more of that. I want more of this. Not necessarily to practice, but to know who am I, where do I come from, and where am I going as an African child. Some of us, we can't even we can't say our clan poem as this is where I come from, this is who I am, this is what we're made of, and this is how dangerous we are. You know, you don't mess with us. I only hear it from the Xhosas and the Zulus and the other Nguni people, how they take pride in who they are, where they come from. I am a Tswana girl, I don't know shit about that. I just know what I do as my career, and I'm coming into the knowing of what my path is as a spiritual child of God, who I believe right now is being called to connect the two spiritual worlds, Christianity and the African spiritual practices, which I'm finding to be so beautiful, and we've been separated from it for such a very long time, and very angry that I can only point at my afro that makes me African, but I can't speak my language fluently, and I don't know a lot of things about my own